Welcome back to this Football Daily channel, guys. How are you doing? How are you enjoying the World Cup? Because I am really enjoying the World Cup right here. In this video, we'll be breaking down some interesting transfer news because Tonali actually looks like he's going to be on his way to Tottenham. Manchester City going again after Elliot Anderson, after the initial rejection of Nottingham Forest, but then they're planning to go again. Liverpool moving for a midfielder, and PSG and Liverpool also keen on Yodiormande, and also a breaking one, Ruben Amorim also going to AC Milan. These are the news that we'll be talking about in this video. But before we dive right into it, please, this is a very new channel. If you have not subscribed, please, as you're watching this video, do me a favor, go ahead to hit that subscribe button, like this video, comment on the video so that YouTube can recommend these videos to people who like football, who would love to hear about football all day, because that's what we'll be doing on this channel. We'll be talking about football 247 every day of the week, every day of the year, and we'll be bringing it back to you. But first of all, let me start with the World Cup, because today, I don't know whether it is today or yesterday in your time, whichever it is, a 68-year-old record was actually broken in the World Cup today, because all the matches that was played in the World Cup today ended in a draw. And the last time that happened in the World Cup was back in 1958. Imagine that. The last time all the games played in a single World Cup match in a day ended up in a draw was back in 1968, and that record was actually broken. It was actually, is it broken? Should I say broken, or it was kept? I don't even know which one to say. But that record, the last time it happened in 1958. And what are the games that actually led to this? Well, it started with Cape Verde versus Spain, which is a very unexpected score line, because this game ended 0-0, and it was quite disappointing to the Spanish team, but it was quite a thing of immense joy to the Cape Verde team. In fact, for Cape Verde, this sounds like a 3 point. It sounds like a victory for the Cape Verde team, because it was actually very unexpected. It was very unexpected. I mean, Cape Verde to Spain is like it's like a giant jet to a truck, you know. But then they were held to a 0-0 draw. Also, Belgium were held to a 1-1 draw by Belgium. A very interesting match. In fact, Belgium had to equalize in that match to grab their one point. Also, a very interesting match that also ended in a draw was Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. Very interesting match. Saudi Arabia scored first, Uruguay had to equalize. And also Iran versus New Zealand also ended in a draw. Very interesting match too. All games are end to end, high energy, good pacing, running around and all of that. Very interesting games, but it all ended in a draw. Iran actually scored, equalized. New Zealand scored first, then Iran equalized, then Iran scored, then New Zealand equalized. Very interesting game, which makes it the 5 games played in a single match day in the World Cup, and all the games ended in a draw. And the last time that happened was 68 years ago. Amazing. That's a very interesting point right there. All right, now let's go into the transfer news happening in Europe right now as it is developing. And let's start with Tonali, because there is a situation growing with Tonali. You know that we all know that there are several clubs, including Arsenal, including Manchester City, and Tottenham, that are actually interested in bringing Tonali on board this summer. But there is a developing story, according to Fabrizio said that right now it looks like there is a high chance that Tonali will be heading towards Tottenham, because number one, Roberto De Zerbi is very, very interested in Tonali, and there is a kind of relationship that both players have actually, both coach and the player have actually built, that might make this easier for Tonali. According to Fabrizio, he said that Tonali and Roberto De Zerbi are actually not just from Italy, they're actually both from the same city in Italy. So it makes the whole conversation quite easy for Tottenham. So according to him, there's a kind of connection, there's a kind of contact. I think they've actually spoken. Already a kind of communication between the Zabi and Tonali and the management. So there is a high chance that Tonali will be heading to Tottenham Hotspur. According to him, he said he does not mind actually not playing the Champions League. He does not mind, despite that Tottenham had a very distressing season last season. He said he doesn't mind. He's still going to play for them. He believed in Roberto De Zerbi's project and is willing to join the team. So this is actually going to be one of the reasons why teams like Arsenal and Manchester City are actually looking elsewhere. It's looking like a backup situation, like he's untouchable right now. It's just for them to complete the all the necessary details and to actually bring him on board. But Roberto De Zerbi is very, very interested, and it looks like Tonali will be heading to Tottenham Hotspur. Because of that, also Manchester City right now will be going, because Tonali is very top on the list of Manchester City before. But because of this news now, Manchester City will actually be going back to Nottingham Forest to tender another bid for Elliot Anderson. Don't forget that Manchester City actually went ahead to submit a bid of £105 million to Nottingham Forest for Elliot Anderson, which they actually turned down and rejected. But now this week, it sounds like Manchester City will be actually going back to Nottingham Forest to submit another bid, another question for Elliot Anderson to join them. They are very keen on bringing him, since there won't be another way to bring in another top-rated midfielder from the Premier League. They are looking to bring in Elliot Anderson, and there is a conversation going on right there. Maybe by next week or before the end of the week, or most likely before the end of next week, we might be able to hear something quite concrete about that transfer. Also, PSG and Liverpool are very keen on bringing Yodiormande to their team. And from what we are hearing, according to Fabrizio, Liverpool is even quite interested in, paying a very high bid, a very high bill for him to bring him down to Liverpool. But Liverpool is also considering that before they bring him in, there must be some exit, like the likes of McAllister. They don't know what his decision is yet, and also some other midfielders who they may also want to consider, because they have to make sale because before they bring him in. So Liverpool is working on maybe potentially offsetting some of the players that they have, so that they can actually bring in a player of the high caliber. But then PSG is also very, very interested in Yodiormande. They are also monitoring the situation. But the thing with PSG is that right now, as at the time we are speaking, they are also monitoring the situation on Bakola. So PSG does not want to sell Bakola, but because there is a conversation of timing and a conversation of, will I be able to play first team football on the side of Bakola, it is clear PSG does not want him to go. But it looks to Bakola like Kvaratskhelia is like the best, their choice, and he doesn't want to keep being the second guy or the third guy that the team will be playing, anytime that they like, or anytime they have a small game or something like that. He wants to play basically he wants to play first team football. So they're still seeing if they can probably convince him to actually stay. But then if not, then they're still looking if they can actually get a good bid for him to be able to sell. And we all know that teams like Arsenal, most important, which is very high. Arsenal is very high on Bakola. They want to bring him to the club. They want to bring him to the club. So they're still waiting to see if there's going to be a very, a serious buyer is going to pay some good money for him. And then if Bakola's exit is inevitable, then they're going to consider buying Yodiormande. So Yodiormande's situation is kind of like, for both teams that are quite interested in him is based on situation, but then the market just opened, so there's still a long way to go. There's still going to be surprises. There's still going to be a lot of things happening along the line, and one of the things we are going to expect is to see Heida Bakola leave PSG to go somewhere else, maybe Arsenal or somewhere that he will decide, and maybe PSG will bring in Yodiormande to the team, or Liverpool will be able to secure Yodiormande. So this conversation is still ongoing, and like I said, it's still the early phase of transfer. The market is still very open. The World Cup is going up, so the concentration on each camp, both the players and the club and the management, is still a little bit distracted. But of course, there are still movement in background. Clubs are already making their moves for the players that they are interested in. And don't forget that Arsenal is also pushing hard for Ayu Bohadi, the Lille midfielder, the 18-year-old Moroccan who dazzled the world against Brazil. Arsenal is also still pushing him, alongside the fact that they are still pushing for Morgan Rogers and Christos Zolis. So all these stuffs are still happening together. We still don't know yet who they are going to sign first, but all these things are confirmed news that, from confirmed sources like David Austin and Fabinho himself, that Arsenal is still making of all this definite and certain move to make sure that they land a winger, a central midfielder who is going to actually upgrade their team and make them compete strongly in the new coming season. So there's a lot of movement in the market. And also Manchester United looks like they will be going for Matias Fernandez. It looks like they are willing to pay the money that West Ham is asking for. While everybody is saying that that price is a little bit too much, I think Manchester United will be very desperate. I think they are very desperate at the moment, and they will be going for that price. Well, I mean, it's up to them. They all know what they are doing. Everybody knows what they are looking for in a player. And I mean, if you find what you want, then you're going to have to pay for it. Well, there is a news for Ruben Amorim, because it seems that all documents have been signed, all contracts have been sealed, and Ruben Amorim is set to become AC Milan's next head coach. Very happy for him. It sounds like after the old Manchester United drama, he's finally going to be back. I mean, he's finally going to be back in the job that he loves. And then I think I read somewhere that this signing for AC Milan is going to help Manchester United to probably offset probably £8 million from the agreement and all of that. So it sounds like it's a good thing for both sides, but much more importantly, I'm happy for Ruben Amorim, going to be the head coach of a very fantastic, very historical club like AC Milan. So these are the developing stories in the market. A lot of things are still going to be happening that we'll be bringing up to you, and also we'll be reacting to the World Cup as it unfolds. If you have not subscribed to this channel, you need to subscribe. You need to hit that subscribe button, because this is a family and this is a community that is going to grow big and big and big on this platform. Thank you for watching this video. Again, if you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. What are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button right now. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.